Hello, my name is Rokia Raslan. I'm an associate professor at UCL IEDE, and over the past year or so, I've been working with Amy Ambrose from Cressa on developing an area of work that looks at the potential of hard to decarbonise homes as a pathway to energy equity. To give some background, reducing the UK's heat sector emissions to net zero by 2050 requires a three-way approach. This involves reducing heat demand while both decarbonising the fuel supply and deploying low-carbon heating technologies. The importance of the hard to decarbonise stock segment to this agenda was reflected in research we undertook for the Committee on Climate Change to inform their 2019 net zero advice. This focused on the potential for abating emissions from hard to decarbonise homes. So what is a hard to decarbonise home? This is a relatively new term in the context of the built environment, and it refers to homes that are considered to be hard to treat or do not have cost-effective options for low carbon heating. Relatively little is known about hard to decarbonise homes, but the limited evidence that does exist suggests that they make up a substantial proportion of the stock, accounting for about 20% of UK homes or about 5 million properties. So why should we tackle HTD homes? The most important answer is because of the people who live in them. Hard to decarbonise homes are key for energy equity as they're considered the most difficult and in some cases the least cost-effective houses to retrofit. But a failure to tackle them means failing our most vulnerable households. Research found that vulnerable households are disproportionately concentrated within the least energy efficient housing and are therefore also likely to be disproportionately represented within the hard to decarbonise stock. People who live in them are at greater risk of the damaging effects of energy poverty and in the greatest need of energy efficiency improvements, but they are least likely to benefit from them because of the challenging nature of upgrading their homes. But inaction is no longer an option. Every day we see headlines such as "Pandemic puts 600,000 more energy customers into debt." Many of these people will likely live in hard to decarbonise homes. These quotes are snippets from a recent study by Amy Ambrose that illustrate how lockdown has affected households already living in energy poverty. These people undoubtedly live in hard to decarbonise homes, and their words illustrate the difficult decisions they have had to make to balance their health and safety with affording to keep warm and even eating. These are choices that no one should have to make. So why else should we tackle them? The second reason is the policy significance that they hold. Although the CCC work has placed hard to decarbonise homes firmly on the policy radar, more ambitious action is needed. The December 2020 Energy White Paper does not go far enough as far as we're concerned. Although its principles support a fairer deal for energy consumers, it falls short of the long-term solutions that are needed for those who live in hard to decarbonise homes. For example, it only targets improvements for EPCs as long as they're considered cost-effective. So how should we tackle them? Research and common sense agree that the most effective method is an integrated approach that involves knowledge, technology, policy, finance and people. Hard to decarbonise homes are an area where novel combinations of innovative or improved decarbonisation solutions will be needed. So we need to carefully consider the social and behavioural factors that may influence how effective these might be in practice. But there are key knowledge gaps that we first need to tackle to ensure that the strategy to address the challenge of decarbonising, how to decarbonise homes is effective. These include our limited understanding of the characteristics that render a home to be hard to decarbonise. This includes things such as the physical attributes which relate to building form, for example, its area and height and fabric, locational attributes which are constraints associated where a building is sited or located, such as the lack of grid connectivity, exposure of the site and accessibility issues that might be present. And finally, occupant attributes that describe the characteristics and habits and routines of the households that live within a hard to decarbonise home. These limitations also extend to the models that we have to try and understand the domestic stock. These generally rely on archetypes representative of more common or standard stock characteristics, so don't really properly account for typologies such as hard to decarbonise homes. They also don't really allow for the exploration of wider factors such as the health benefits of upgrades which are critical to the decision-making process for hard to decarbonise homes. Beyond models and technology, we are currently working to fully understand and integrate the impact of occupant-related attributes within the HTD stock. in particular those in fuel poverty or fall under groups that are referred to as hard to reach energy users. Ownership of properties is another dimension we will come across in our research. The worst performing housing in terms of energy performance is the private rented sector, and landlords will be the hardest to convince to address the hard to decarbonise nature of their properties. There are also various caps and clauses in current policy that allow landlords to avoid taking action. This will be a key non-physical barrier that interventions to address hard to decarbonise homes will have to take into account and overcome. So in developing work in this area, our aim is to meet the critical need for a robust hard to decarbonise evidence base. We will do this through the implementation of a participatory approach to better understand who occupies the stock and ultimately shape appropriate solutions that emphasise decarbonation as a pathway to energy equity. So how will we do this? We have a number of key actions that we will be putting into place. The first is that we will be researching the experiences of occupying hard to decarbonise properties through an extensive programme of qualitative interviews. We aim to interview around 200 households across various hard to decarbonise archetypes around the UK. We will use this information alongside other research we will be undertaking to develop personas that represent nuanced profiles and also provide insights into behavioural variations amongst hard to decarbonise occupants. These personas will help us improve our modelling extensively. The third and fourth actions involve really engaging with stakeholders and interested parties. We aim to co-produce regionally focused decarbonisation scenarios for hard to decarbonise homes for key UK regions where they exist. This aims to help inform the formulation of local strategy and targets. And we also aim to create a hard to decarbonise energy equity network to bring together relevant policy and research stakeholders in this area. What can happen? So what is our ambition? Due to the unique challenges and potential impact that can be achieved, hard to decarbonise homes are currently the focus of increased research and policy interest. For the stock segment, the majority of energy efficiency measures will need to be installed in the next decade if they are to be prepared for low carbon heat. And energy efficiency is expected to be a key component of the green economic recovery here in the UK. With all this movement happening on the front, we need to ensure that all this action is done in a way that supports energy equity to ensure that no one gets left behind. Thank you very much. I hope to have the opportunity to discuss how to decarbonise homes with you, and in particular the energy equity network. If you are interested in hearing more, please do get in touch with me on my email above. Thank you.